All right, folks, we're live right here. The mic is hot. Doing it to you, bringing it back to you this fall. I told you, we said we was coming back. We're back again. We're live. We're going to talk about them Falcons tonight, guys. This is Thursday night, the first official preseason game for the NFL. Last week, the Falcons played the Denver Broncos in the Hall of Fame game. Well, we don't count that. We didn't like what we saw, me and Big Time, so we're going to talk about it tonight. I want you guys to sit back, relax, and enjoy this, maybe not an hour show, but, you know, whatever we do, we do. Big Time, you there, buddy? Big Time, the main man, Jimmy the Greek.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Big Time says he has a lot on his chest, and I tell you what, buddy, it's time to release that stress and to get it off your chest, and let's talk about it tonight. Hopefully, folks, I just want to remind you guys, this is the Mic is Hot. This is the THEMIKEISMI. Oh, wait, I'm going a little too fast. Slow it down a little bit. I'm excited, too, Big Time. I'm excited. THEMIKEISHOT, where you can find us on YouTube, iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Twitter, and Facebook for most people. Big Time to get this music turned down. We're going to pump this thing up. Let me get your take. I know we were talking a little bit earlier, and I want to get your take on how you feeling about them Falcons right now. And from what you saw last week, you said you wasn't impressed. Neither was I. And let's jump right into it, Big Time. What do you think about them birds, man?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me say quickly before I get on it, I'm glad to be on the show. We got a lot going on. You know, a lot of moving parts tonight. I'm going to be in and out, but I like to always offer my opinion, especially in line with my passion for these boys. And as the preseason started, as Big D has said, we kick off this season officially with the preseason tonight, and I am not feeling great about the Falcons. In light of all of what they have accomplished in off season, through the coaches, few players, I'm just not happy with the approach that they are taking as it relates to the players getting ready for the season. There's no question, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most, if I can describe it this way, expected or expectation or anticipation, revelation, any other nation you can think of season the Falcons are getting ready to embark upon.
Go ahead, Jesse Jackson. Keep talking.
And if they don't do it this year, it's going to be some sad fans, and I think I'm going to be included in that. So as I said, and look at what they're doing to get ready, I just, as I said before tonight, I'm feeling real good about it. Oh. It's to be seen what will happen.
Okay, Big Time, let me say this. We had a conversation the other day off the air, and I want to kind of bring it up and recap people out there that's listening to our show right now, understanding on where we are with the Falcons. If you're out of state, out of the country, and this is going to be the place to tune in all year long, because we plan on being out on live remotes, sidelines. No, we're not sidelines, dog game. We're going to be at live remotes for the Falcons, sports bars in different locations. One thing I want to address, because one thing, we both, Big Time and myself, we're both big Atlanta Falcons fans, but we also are realists. We call it like we see it. We don't beat around the bush, and we don't say stuff that we don't think. We don't work for anybody. This is a free broadcast to anybody, and we get opinions from other fans of the Atlanta Falcons, and we want the people to hear it. We want you to hear it. We want you to tune in. We want you to call in, and on the next show, I hopefully have it where you guys can actually just text your question in, and we can actually put your questions on the air, or we can bring them up at the next show. A lot of things about the Falcons this year that what I've seen and Big Time has seen, even though we only had one preseason ball game, we're pretty disappointed. We're pretty disappointed in this team. Several of the starters are not playing, and that's the same on both teams. But quarterback Matt Ryan did not start in the last ball game. Wide receiver, Pro Bowler, Julio Jones did not start. Freeman, the running back, did not start. Now, we believe, and most people believe, that the reason some of these guys are not starting is that's possible. There's some injuries lingering with these players that we haven't heard of before. My thought is that I don't know what the reason is, but we need to have them on the field. Something I mentioned a Big Time earlier this week was that the players need to be on the field and running reps. The offensive coordinator, the head coaching staff need to be able to see what it looks like with Julio Jones and Freeman in the backfield. We don't have to run him hard. We don't have to run him like it's a full-time game, but you got to keep in mind the opponent has the same problem we have. They have players who they don't want anybody hurt before the season starts as well. So I don't see that as being a big problem. I believe, and I've said this many times before on the mic, when a player comes to practice, they need to be conditioned. Their body need to be conditioned. You just can't stop playing in the fall after the Super Bowl, one of your last games, and don't go back to the field again. You got to come into practice already conditioned, worked out, running, hitting the weights, doing what you need to do physically and mentally to get back into the ball game. And as of right now, like I said, there's a game tonight, and I would say there's a game tonight live. The NFL kicks off their preseason for the whole entire season. But I know I talk a lot, right? I'm talking a lot right now, so I'm gonna throw it back to Big Time and get his opinion on how he feel about the players, some of the players not playing in the preseason. Big Time.
Well, you couldn't have said it better. There's something going on here that I don't think the fans are getting the full picture of. Let's for example, let's talk about Julio Jones. We know, as the NFL world know, this man is still negotiating a contract. And there's also conversation, as we heard, there may be some injuries on his part. But we also heard that there is some concern about him just playing the preseason because they want to have him ready. Well, having said those three things, still go back to what you just said, D. Regardless, this man need to be getting on the field, getting reps in. If the ownership, which is what Dennis, I heard you say, Arthur Blank said in an interview that they're ready. It's on Julio and his agent. Okay, so if that's the case, and I don't think the owner will get on the air and lie, well, I'm not giving everything to him because we don't know, but he said it, that it's on Julio and his agent. So if the GM have said we expect and believe that Julio Jones should be the highest paid receiver in the game, and about how much money he makes, obviously he's gonna get paid. But if that man is ready to sign and he's not signing, why?
Good question. Good question.
Why Julio Jones, if I were to meet him, besides giving him props for being a great receiver, I'd be like, Julio, what's going on?
What do you think? Why do you think? Why do you think he's not playing?
I don't know. I think there's a question of there may be some minor lingering injury with the foot, which is what I read. There may be some mindset that he has that, hey, as a veteran, I don't really want to get on the field like most veterans don't in practice. In the preseason. That might be there. And there may be some dispute in the contract. But going back to your question, I don't know.
There's no contract right now, so it can't be a dispute. My thing is
with the negotiation.
Okay,
is what I'm saying.
Probably with his agent. Okay, well, something you alluded to earlier before we got on the air is that it's possible that the player just don't want to play. They just don't want to play in the preseason. They don't think it's worth their time and to get out on the field, and they think they already know what they need to know to be able to play in the ball game. Several times last year, Julio Jones didn't practice because of injuries. That's a possibility, and I like to throw that out there, and I like to get the opinion from the people out there and get you guys' opinion to write in and text, go to the website and give us your opinion so we can talk about that. I personally think, the money thing when it comes down to the players and the agents, I believe in Arthur Blank, and Julio says he believes in Arthur Blank. But from what I heard today in the media, that Arthur Blank said that, hey, we ready. We just waiting on Julio to get it together, or whatever with his agent or whatever. And I think it's going to come together. But I just hope it's not too late. I've always said, and I say all the time, it's preparation and conditioning is two of the main components in the game that the players have to have. And if you're not prepared mentally and physically, then that's going to be a problem. Coming into if you stay out all the preseason and all of a sudden now you expect to come in full strength. I heard him say I'm getting passes from Matt Ryan on the sideline, but that's not the same. You need to be in the game. You need to be running patterns, because I think it's not only for you, it's for the rest of the team. It's for Matt Ryan to make sure he knows where Steve's going to be. Now, I heard Julio say the same thing. I need to be where Matt want me to be. But at the same time, you can't be there if you're on the sideline. You need to be there in practice. You need to be there in the game. So I think that's a very important part that, you need to be on the field. And also, the coaches need to see you on the field. We need to have some tape. Just like other teams, when the season started, they got tape on different teams. They got tape on players and positioning. We need some tape in practice of Julio Jones 2019 running with our defense. We got new guys on defense. And in the preseason, you got different teams. And we need you on the field so we can see what the defense is doing. The defense, are they picking up Julio Jones? Are they doubling Julio Jones? Or what's going on with that? So it gives us an idea, a scenario that we go into the season next year, we'll know what to do. We'll know, we'll have some ideas in certain games or certain teams, hey, this is what we need to do. And right now we're not getting that. And that bothers me. Yeah. And that's why I got a problem.
It bothers me as well. As I can interject, it bothers me as well. And let me say, I'm not as concerned about the contract side of the issue between him and the Falcons because that's business. I know that's going to work the stuff out. I'm more concerned about on that field, not necessarily in the preseason game. The preseason game, very few of the starters are going to get a lot of reps, except the third game. I watch a lot of Falcons clips on Facebook. I watch a lot of Falcons clips of practice on the Falcon website, and I watch the news. I have once seen an entire training camp Julio Jones on the field, catching a single pass thrown to him by any quarterback, particularly Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
That concerns me.
It concerns me.
That concerns me because you are not, and I don't know whether I can blame Julio for it or blame the head coaches, but their philosophy is we don't want this guy to get injured. So that's why we keep him off the field. I think if Julio Jones, which he's shown me in the past, he's dedicated to this team. He's not like a lot of these other players and receivers and prima donna guys in the league where he.
But Eddie, let me say this. I understand they don't want to get injured. Again, what I said earlier, I hope maybe when there was some people say it, but I want to come back and say it again. He don't have to catch the ball. They don't have to throw the ball to him. What I want to see is Julio Jones get in the ball game, run a pattern, and see how the defense reacts to it. Only injuries he's gonna get there is he's gonna pull a strain if he's not in shape or condition. But most times he's not gonna get hit. So I don't see a problem with that. So you can't, regardless of what they're saying, well, we don't want him to get injured. I don't believe that. You can't.
Other words, you say even if you don't throw the ball to him, there's a high chance that he's not going to get hit by a player because he hadn't caught the ball.
Exactly.
You want to see him blocking off the line, running off the line, running a pattern.
What I want to see mostly is I want to see how the defense reacts to him. Defense coordinator Julio give defense coordinators a headache when they got to figure out how to defend Julio Jones. They're not worried about Sanu. They're not worried about Ridley. They're more concerned about Julio Jones because they don't want to get burnt by Julio Jones. So therefore, they got to make sure they got enough coverage on him. If they got a star all-star receiver, defensive back, hey, that's fine. But if they don't, they got to make sure that safety is coming over or whatever's going on, that Julio Jones is protected, especially New Orleans. So that's what we actually need. You could do different stuff in the ball game. You don't have to run the same plays. And then on the other hand, we got rookies on the field. Even though we got rookies playing again, I'm watching the whole preseason. I'm watching the whole ball game. So I'm watching the whole ball game, so I can get an idea of what's going on there.
Yeah. And it's not just him. Ladies and gentlemen, it's also Freeman. It's also other Falcons key guys. There's something amiss to me as a very concerned and avid fan why the Falcons are not coming into the regular season over the last 3 years, not fully being ready, look like, to go and play ball. Now, granted, 3 years ago, they went to the Super Bowl. They surprised themselves just like they surprised everybody else. And ever since that year, they still been going down. Now, even though they went that year, look at how many injuries have occurred since that year.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about the conditioning going on up there. There's something about the mindset. There's something about the way these guys are coming into the season. I heard and read, ladies and gentlemen, from a columnist beat writer for the Falcons, that the Falcons have not won a single preseason game.
Wow.
2016.
And that says a lot about the team. That says a lot about the team.
Now,
how
granted,
they
the preseason means nothing, people.
Yeah.
Let me say that, everybody. It means nothing in terms of wins and losses.
Well,
but if you haven't won it, if you haven't won a single game, what is that telling me about what you're doing up there at Flower Bay?
Eddie, what I'm saying, they haven't won a single ball game. I agree with you. It has nothing to do with wins or losses, but it has a lot to do with your mindset of how you come into this game. If you come to this ball game, you got an opportunity to win. You need to convey that to your team, and you need to try to win. You need to try to score. Don't wait till the last minute ball game. So, well, it's a preseason ball game. It's okay. And matter of fact, I'm gonna say this. It's okay to take chances. It's okay every now and then to if you throw an interception, it's okay. It's a preseason ball game, but at least we know what's gonna happen when you do that. You know what I'm saying? So we got to take some chance in the preseason game. That's something probably the Falcons are not doing as well. You can't just go out there and just, well, we're doing it for the TV. We don't get anything out of it. Well, why do it? Why do it? We're getting something out of it, and every team is getting something out of it. And that's why tonight I plan on watching as many games as I possibly can. Go ahead.
I ask you, Dennis. What do you think? I mean, this is something that has been, going on. When I give the record and what I read, Dan Quinn, since he came into this system, what is your opinion? What do you think the reason is why?
Why we haven't won any preseason game?
Well, and not so much the wins. It's the whole philosophy of what we have been going on. See, the approach that they're taking, ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand this. It's not the wins and losses. Let me repeat. It's the whole approach you take it. Well, what approach is that? The conditioning is a part of that approach.
Yep.
The win in the preseason is a part of that approach. The timing is a part of that approach. People, could be some of the reasons that Julio Jones doesn't catch touchdowns as often as he should, and it seems that him and Matt are not on the same page until later in the season. Julio Jones had more touchdowns in a single season last year than he had in the last 3 years with the Falcons. Well, guess what? Most of the touchdowns came in the second half of the season as he continued to you know what I mean? There's a lot going on here where you're not getting the proper connection.
I agree. Well, I mean, my thing is that.
What do you think? What do you think the reason is, D?
I can't. I don't understand this man's philosophy. I like Dan Quinn as a head coach. I think he can take this team a long way. I got other things I can say about Dan Quinn right now. We don't have time for me to go into all the things that how I feel about him as a head coach. But right now, he's doing what he thinks is best, and I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, I'm gonna watch this team very closely throughout the playoffs. And as you know, we always give our prediction at the first of the season. And the first of the season, before the first ball game season, the last preseason game, we'll give our prediction, and I'm going to have an invitation out to all the players, and hopefully we'll be live on Facebook. YouTube, and be able to talk to people live while we're doing the show, and I can shout out other people to giving their prediction. But that's when I have taken a good look at the preseason. And as you know, last year, myself and you, I think we came within one game. Was it one game last year or two games away from our prediction? And right now, if you had to ask me my prediction, I won't give a prediction right now, but it don't look as well as I thought it would have been. But we still got a long way to go in the preseason. Got a lot of new parts that I'm not familiar with, new coaches and players that wasn't hurt last year to back this year. I mean, you can look at the big picture and you would say, yeah, the Falcons got everybody's back. Everybody's healthy. They should be just like they were 2 years ago. But, it don't work like that. My thing is every year you either get better or worse. And this year, it just depends on we got a new offensive coordinator. I look at a new offensive coordinator like a new player. You got a whole new system that's got to change. And just like the year when Shanahan came in, the first year, you see how good offensive coordinator he was. But the first year, people didn't understand the system, and they lost a lot of ball games. The next year, he took the team to the Super Bowl. So it's going to take some work on both ends, from the players end and from the.
And you left your booth, the percentage. You left your percentage in there.
And from both sides of that, so we're going to see what happened with that.
Yeah, then keep it going. Keep it going. I'm listening. I agree with you. What do you think about the the new OC.
The new offensive coordinator? I lost you that big time. I think the question you asked me, what I think about the.
Okay. Yeah,
You back?
I said, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, I said, what do you think about all the additions we have on the coaching staff and how that plays in? Speak on that. I'm gonna let you flow with it as I'm moving.
Yeah. Okay. One thing I'm gonna say about that, I was alluding to that a minute ago. The new coaching staff with the new offensive coordinator. This guy, I've said this before. Cut right off the top of my head, I don't really like the idea. I think that we should have went out and brought in a offensive coordinator, a new offensive coordinator. His record in Atlanta, he was okay, but at one point, the Atlanta Falcons replaced him, and he was terminated, and Tampa Bay picked him up. But when Tampa Bay picked him up, he was Tampa, I think it was 2 or 3 years, and the old coach, Mike Smith, the Atlanta head coach, he brought him in as a defensive coordinator, and those guys they didn't do well at Tampa. They had Jameis Winston as quarterback, but and Tampa decided last year to release him. Well, after his release, the Atlanta Falcons picked him back up. Okay, that goes back to my theory. How can you got a guy that didn't do well on his last job when he was here before? You terminate him, you go to another team, they terminate him, you bring him back. What am I supposed to expect? What am I supposed to expect? Not a whole lot. So that when it comes to that, and then also we got I think it was three or four coaches that were here before, and they were offensive coordinators. That's something that I'm gonna watch big time tonight. Is I'm gonna watch the coaches on the sideline. I'm gonna watch the coaches' plays on certain plays. What are they doing? If we got a 3rd and 1, what type of plays are they running? Are they running plays? Are they passing plays? That's very important to me. That tells me situational football in the regular season. It doesn't matter who's playing, whether they're starters or they're backup guys or guys trying to make the team. But situational football in preseason, you should be trying to score. You should be trying to pick up a first down. If you got a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, you should be running plays that's going to get using what you have in your running game or passing game to get you a first down. And I'll be honest with you, last week I saw that and I wasn't impressed with it. I didn't see that. So I'm going to watch a little bit closer this week. I think our offensive coordinator was in the booth. So we're gonna see how that looks. So what you say on that?
Well, you know, it's interesting to say it ties right into my same feeling I have about what's going on with the players and the conditioning, all the other stuff we just talked about in the last segment. This new coaching staff across the board with the Falcons is all good guys and all knowledgeable guys that's been around, but we don't know what they're going to do with this team and this whole system in the first year. So it's another reason for me, as I am still a great and lovable fan, to have some reasonable doubt about what's going to happen. I'm impressed with what the OC did, Dirk Cutter, when he was here the last time under the same quarterback and the same receiver, Madden and Julio. I'm impressed a little bit as to what he was able to do offensively in Tampa, even though their offense wasn't that great. But when you bring him back and put him in this system, I feel a little bit, based on his history, that he can do well. But I don't know. You know, I don't know what Dan Quinn is going to do as a defensive coordinator as well as a head coach. I don't know what the offensive line coach, tight ends coach, I think he is, Mike Malaki, who was once a Falcons offensive coordinator. I don't know what these guys. I don't care how much experience you have. It still got to work with when you apply it to a total new system.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Well,
when a bunch of heads is all come together, they still got their mesh. They got to come together.
It doesn't mean that some of these guys were head coaches, other teams, or offensive coordinator. It doesn't mean it's a good fit. I mean, that's the main thing, is a good fit. I think one thing
it doesn't.
We talked about before. Now, I didn't say anything about Dan Quinn, but I got some questions about him as the defensive coordinator. One thing I think you and I spoke about in the past was that how you going to take your head coach is the defense coordinator now. We kind of figure he don't know a whole lot about offense. I can tell last year I watched this closely from Dan Quinn. He don't know a whole lot about offense. He knows the logistics of it, and as a head coach, it's your job to pretty much manage the whole team.
He's in fact, excuse me for jumping in. He admitted that he doesn't know the offense.
Yeah, well, I
he's
can tell
not
that.
an offensive-minded guy, and that's not a fault against him because all coaches in the league, I won't say all, many coaches in the NFL have one good, strength over another.
Yeah.
They became a head coach coming off some lineman type of coach, some sideline coach. Well, I don't have a problem with that, but the concern I have is it going to work? Is it going to work under this system with Dan Quinn?
The problem I got with that,
it got to work.
The problem I got with that, the Falcons have hired a time management person. I don't know what that's what the title is, time management, and that's one thing I've said. The year they went to the Super Bowl,
how's that bad, though?
Well, let me tell you why it's bad because the time management. What is this guy gonna do? He gonna be on the sideline. He gonna be standing by the coach saying, "Hey, look, change the play, do this." That's a head coach. That's a head coach job.
He's on the sideline to help. It's obvious.
Well, let me ask you, what's your opinion of a time management person? What does he do? Then I'm gonna tell you.
Let me explain it this way. For them to even hire that type of guy with that title, they openly did it, meaning they brought it to the public, and that told me and everyone else looking at it that there was a problem. They would have never hired him if there wasn't a problem with that issue.
Yes.
Now,
but that's the head coach's
here's
job.
how we're gonna fix that. No matter who it's on, it is on Dan Quinn, but it's a problem. Dan Quinn admitted it was a problem when he said, "Okay, I agree to that hire," whether he had anything to do with it or not. He may have not didn't, but just when he did, it proved that he needed something done. Here's what I like about it. If Dan Quinn was losing games or a game, not managing the clock, which it appeared that's what happened in the Super Bowl, there was some lacking in clock management. Somebody need to be there to say, Dan, that's one responsibility that you don't have to worry about. You can deal with all the other things on the sideline during the game. And when it comes to timeout, when it comes to when to throw the flag in for the penalty, if we challenge a call, if it comes into how many minutes we got, how many timeouts we got, a lot of things involving time that we as viewers don't even get a chance to notice. We only hear about it when the commentator brings it up.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with that because what that does, with Dan Quinn is focused on the defense now, then that's one less responsibility he has as a head coach. This is kind of why I like Cutter as an experienced OC, because Dan Quinn is basically going to say, when the offense is on the field, I can be talking to the defense. I focus totally on the defense and don't worry about the offense.
Yeah,
because
that's good and bad. The problem I got with that is, we need a head coach because when we're going 3 and out, who's going to stand up and say, "Hey, look, we got to change something here"? Where's our head coach at? We need a head coach. We need a head. Dan Quinn is. You saying he's going to sideline? He's talking to the defense, and that's what the defense coordinators do.
Okay.
That's what they do when the offense on the field, they on the sideline talk to the defense. We need somebody watching the offense and watch what's going on and see if things are not going right.
I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. Because let me add this. What you're saying in this sense, which is what you're saying, if you're the head coach, then that title means you're supposed to run everything.
Yep. Oversee.
You know what I mean?
You need to oversee.
That title means you, even if you ain't making the correct run of it, you're supposed to be involved in it.
Exactly.
You're supposed to be having a decision in everything on that sideline in every play.
Exactly.
And if you're going to tell me I'm going to remove myself from an area that dealing with the clock because I got a clock guy over here, this clock guy should not have as much experience as you do.
Exactly.
Because of that way, he need to be the head coach.
Exactly.
Derek Cutter don't need to have as much experience in the overall as you have as a head coach, because your job as a head coach is to run the offense, run the defense, run the whole thing. Whether you have a direct line in the play or not, it got to be a part of your decision making.
Exactly. Well, look, we got about another minute, and I'm going to kind of wrap this thing up and give you an opportunity to give me your opinion on what you think about this upcoming game against Miami. You think is it going to be a game that we're going to probably learn something from, or is it just another show?
Well, it's going to be an interesting game to watch. I'm head over heels to watch the first few minutes of it. In fact, I might even watch a lot of the game. I want to see the Falcons complete this game. what I mean by complete this game. Not necessarily with a win, a W don't necessarily mean nothing, but I want to see the Falcons play a full game where even down to the last 5 minutes or 3 minutes of the game, they're in command of everything they're doing from the sideline to the backup players to everything. I want to see the Falcons come away with a tone that we are getting ready. And I want to watch every aspect of that. So that's why this game tonight, I expect the Falcons to really come out and do a real good job in what I just said. And I would hope and pray, as we always do, that they can do it without getting any other key players injured.
I agree. My sentiments exactly. I'm looking for these guys to come out tonight and to show us something. So we need to see something. We need to see all the stars on the field, which we know that's not going to happen. But we need to have something on tape that this offense coordinator, this newly offensive coordinator this year, can look at and maybe get on the same page with the players. So I'm looking forward to seeing this ball game night. And guys, we'll get back with you again next week as we do this show once a week as the preseason has already started, to bring you guys up on what's going on with the Falcons. Big time, as always. I know you're out and about and trying to get some stuff done where you can get home and watch this game just like myself. And this is the Micah's Heart, like I said, next week. And we're going to try to have this thing up so I can start receiving some input, some tweets, some stuff where people can actually they can log in, and while we're talking, they can have questions and give answers to the question that we're talking about in the show. Go ahead, but you have something to say. I don't want to cut you off. You was going to say something?
That's it. We'll see how it goes. All right?
Folks, again, thanks again. Mike is hot. This is DJ Thomas. We'll see you next time. We out. Love you.